Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and today we are going to talk about facial bones. So let's start the topic with introduction. Human skull is divided into two main parts, the cranial bones and the facial bone. In last video we have talked about the cranial bones and in this video we are going to talk about the facial bones. With the cranial bone protect the brain, the facial bone forms the framework of the face. These bones give shape to the face, protect sensory organs, and provide attachment for facial muscles that are essential for expression, chewing, and speech. There are 14 facial bones in total, most of which exist in pairs, except for the mandible and vomer. List of facial bones include there are 14 facial bones that include 12 paired bones that are 2 maxilla, 2 zygomatic bone, 2 nasal bone, 2 lacrimal bones, 2 palatine bones, and 2 inferior nasal conchae. Then there are 2 unpaired bones of facial skeleton that are 1 vomer and 1 mandible. Now let's talk about these bones one by one. First we have is maxilla, as you can see in the diagram. It is paired bone, that means there are 2 maxilla in every skull. It forms the upper jaw and central part of the face. They hold the upper teeth and form part of orbits, nasal cavity, and hard palate. It contains the maxillary sinuses that are the largest paranasal sinuses, which help in lightening the skull and resonating the voice. Next facial bone we have is zygomatic bone. As you can see in the diagram, the purple color bone is zygomatic bone. It is paired bone. That means there are 2 zygomatic bones in every skull. It is commonly known as cheekbone. It forms the prominence of cheek and part of orbit. It articulates with the temporal bone to form the zygomatic arch that is an important landmark of the face. Next facial bone we have is nasal bone, that is also the paired bone. It is a small rectangular bone that forms the bridge of the nose. It provides attachment for the cartilage of the nose, giving shape and support to its upper part. Next facial bone we have is lacrimal bone. It is the smallest bone of face that is located in the inner corner of the orbit. It contains the lacrimal fossa, which houses the lacrimal sac, that is a part of tear drainage system. It is essential for passage of tears from the eyes into the nasal cavity. Next facial bone we have is palatine bone, that is also the pair bone. It is located at the back of nasal cavity. It forms the posterior part of hard palate, part of nasal cavity, and small portion of orbits. It contributes to separating the oral and nasal cavity, which is important for swallowing and speaking. Next facial bone we have is inferior nasal conchae, that is also the paired bone. It is a curved scroll-like bones that project into the nasal cavity. Its function is to filter, warm, and humidify the air during breathing by increasing the surface area inside the nasal passage. Next facial bone we have is vomer. It is also the unpaired bone. That means skull has only one vomer. It is a thin, flat single bone that forms the lower part of the nasal septum, which separates the two nostrils. It contributes to the proper airflow through the nasal cavity. Next facial bone we have is a mandible. It is also unpaired bone of skull. That means there is one mandible in every skull. It is the lower jaw bone, the largest and strongest facial bone. It is the only movable bone of skull that is connected by the temporal bone by the temporomandibular joint. It houses the lower teeth and forms the chin. It plays a vital role in chewing, speaking, and facial expression. Functions of facial bone. First function is protection, as facial bones safeguard sensory organs like eyes, nose, and tongue. Second function is support, as the facial bone provide framework for the face, holding the teeth and forming cavities for respiration and digestion. Third function is facial expression, as these bones serve as an attachment point for muscles that control expression. Fourth function is speech and chewing, as these bones assist in mastication and articulation of sound. Fifth function is airway regulation, as nasal bones and conchae help in regulation by filtering and humidifying inhaled air. Conclusion of this lecture video. There are 14 facial bones. Together they form the unique structure of human face. Each bone has a specific function, from shaping facial features to supporting vital processes like chewing, breathing, and communication. The mandible and vomer are unpaired bones, while the remaining 12 bones are pair bone. They are collectively ensuring that the face is both strong and functional. And this is all about the facial bones. Hopefully you like the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching.